There are some books you read once, you remember them for life. And then there are the rare ones that you come back to decades later, only to realize they're reading you this time. Today, we're talking about a science fiction classic that challenges society, pokes at our sacred assumptions, and asks whether humanity is even ready for enlightenment. Let's see how Stranger in a Strange Land holds up in 2025. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son, and sometimes just the father, talk about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and all the nerddom in between. I'm Jim, and today I've got a spoiler-light review of one of the most influential sci-fi novels of the 20th century. If you enjoy deep dives, classic revisits, thought-provoking themes, or just hanging out with me while I talk about books, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And of course, if you want to support our channel, help us keep bringing this stuff out to you, jump over to our Patreon page. We'd love to have you join that community. All right, let's grok this thing. The book I'm talking about again is Stranger in a Strange Land, written by Robert A. Heinlein, first published in 1961. There was a restored uncut edition published in 1991. The genre is science fiction. It's also a philosophical satire. This book won the Hugo Award for Best Novel in 1962 and was a cornerstone of the counterculture movement of the 60s and 70s. It's one of the most discussed works in the history of science fiction. This book is famous for the impact it had, also infamous because of its ideas about religion, sexuality, culture, what it truly means to be a human. This book was impactful, and people loved it and hated it in equal measure. The book did not just enter sci-fi canon, it reshaped it. I first read this novel back in my 20s, mostly because, well, you kind of had to if you were into fantasy and sci-fi. It was one of those pillar sci-fi novels that everyone said was essential. And at the time, I found it fascinating and honestly deeply moving. Recently, I revisited it for a discussion over on the Non-Terrestrial Half-Life YouTube channel, a fun channel where the hosts reread books. Now, they're contemporaries of mine, that they read in the first half of their life. And of course, this book was a perfect fit for me, so I jumped in with them on the conversation. It had been long enough since I'd read this book that I did kind of wonder how it would hold up. My memory was of this epic science fiction novel that was just incredible and amazing. And now, with my older, hopefully wiser self, with a different perspective, see this book in the same way? Spoiler, it did. Perhaps even appreciating it more. Here's a spoiler-light summary for you, just in case you haven't read the book. The novel follows Valentine Michael Smith, a human born on Mars, there's a story behind that, and raised entirely by Martians. See, he's the one sole survivor of a failed Earth expedition. When he is brought back to Earth as an adult, Mike is essentially a stranger to his own species, physically human, but shaped by a completely alien culture. As government officials, doctors, and journalists try to understand and control him, Mike forms a bond with nurse Jill Boardman, who helps him escape into the wider world. As Mike begins learning human language, customs, and contradictions, he also reveals the extraordinary mental and spiritual abilities he acquired from the Martians who raised him. His journey becomes one of discovery of humanity, morality, love, religion, and the often irrational systems that hold society together. Over time, Mike gathers a circle of friends and followers who are drawn to his peaceful, transformative worldview, even as others fear and misunderstand him. The story explores what it means to be human when viewed through entirely new eyes, asking big questions about culture, belief, power, and the possibility, just maybe, of a better way to live. When Stranger in a Strange Land released, critics were quite polarized. There was praise heaped on the book. Many celebrated its bold ideas, its satirical brilliance, and its deep philosophical questioning. The word grok even entered common vocabulary. But it was controversial, too. Other readers were outraged by the book's critique of organized religion, its exploration of open sexuality, its communal living concepts, and the way it skewered American culture. It did not pull any punches. The cultural impact was profound. By the late 60s and 70s, the book had become a touchstone for counterculture movements that were ripping America apart. Free thought communities, even it led to the origins of a real-life Church of All Worlds. Today, this novel remains a highly influential classic, the one that sparks just as many debates now as it did then. How about me? Well, back in my early 20s, this book was astonishing. It felt daring, profound, emotionally powerful. I remember really being moved, and oh my goodness, the sense of loss and devastation at the ending of the story was a big hit. Valentine Michael Smith, his journey, this gentle alien-raised human trying to understand and cope with our chaotic society, it really struck me. So, as I revisited it now, I think it hits even harder. In 2025, reading a novel that exposes hypocrisy in American culture, it feels almost prophetic. Heinlein holds up a mirror to our institutions, things we never even question. Organized religion, politics, media, public morality, and it reveals the contradictions we still live with every day. The tragedy of it all? The book suggests that human nature simply cannot tolerate true enlightenment. That fear, insecurity, tribalism, these things kill what could be beautiful. They stop us from becoming the people we might be. As a Christian, there's a slight struggle with this book. I feel like my faith should connect with aspects of the book and say, yes, this is how we should look at the world. We should be truly loving, welcoming, connecting with people. But there are definitely other aspects that go completely contradictory with moral underpinnings of my faith. So how does it impact me as a real person? Well, it's definitely thought-provoking. It makes me go, if only. And yeah, other aspects I just can't get on board with. But I have no problem with how it pokes at organized religion, because there are some hypocrisies, no doubt. So yes, this reread was powerful, messy, thoughtful, sometimes uncomfortable, but absolutely worthwhile. Here's 6 reasons that today's readers might actually enjoy this book written so long ago. Number 1, it's a masterclass in social and cultural satire. Heinlein doesn't hold back. Organized religion, government bureaucracy, media spectacle, everything is fair game. Number 2, the character study of Valentine Michael Smith is unforgettable. A human raised by Martians trying to decode humanity. It's both charming and heart-wrenching. My 3rd reason, the invented philosophy is genuinely intriguing. Grokking, water sharing, communal consciousness. These concepts still resonate in modern spiritual discussions. My 4th reason is how it challenges assumptions you didn't even know you had. Whether you agree with the book or not, it forces you to think in deeply fundamental ways. My 5th reason, the world building is subtle but brilliant. This isn't a flashy sci-fi epic. It's a near-future Earth seen through an alien lens, and that just changes everything. And my 6th reason you might enjoy this book is that it remains relevant, maybe uncomfortably so. Its themes of fear, tribalism, conformity, social hypocrisy, they feel sharper than ever. Stranger in a Strange Land is not a fast-paced thriller. It's not a shiny space adventure. Instead, it's a slow-burn, philosophical tale, a book that wants to unsettle you, provoke you, inspire you, and maybe even annoy you a bit. But 50 plus years after its publication, it still feels bold, still feels dangerous, still feels important. It's a book that sticks with you, not because it tells you what to think, but because it dares you to think at all. That's my Spoiler-Lite review of Stranger in a Strange Land. Have you read it? Did you grok it? Or did you bounce off it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you've read it both young and older, like I have. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, consider joining our Patreon community. It really does help the channel grow and keep all this content coming your way. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.